Taurus, look around you now. How many times have you been called upon to solve what no one else could? How many times have you been put in charge without asking? How many times have people naturally followed you even when you weren't trying to lead? This is not coincidence. It's not luck. It's not because you are smarter or more charismatic than others. It's because you carry within you something that most people spend their entire lives searching for and never find: natural authority. Not the authority that comes from a position or title, the authority that simply exists, that emanates from you like gravity, that makes people instinctively trust, follow, and obey. You are the sign of leaders, not because you seek power, not because you manipulate or intimidate, but because when you are present, there is an undeniable feeling that things will work out, that someone is in control, that there is a plan, and that plan will materialize exactly as it should. And this certainty that you transmit is magnetic to a world full of lost, insecure people, desperate for someone who really knows what they are doing. Can you feel how people relax in your presence because they finally have someone who can carry the weight they can't carry alone? Let me show you something that will completely change how you see yourself and your role in this world. There's a specific reason why you always end up on top. Why you always end up being the person everyone looks to when things get tough. Why you build empires, whether they're real businesses, structured families, or entire social circles that revolve around you. And that reason is encoded in the very essence of what it means to be a Taurus. You're not an accidental boss. You're a boss by cosmic design. Most people confuse leadership with charisma, with speaking loudly, with being the most visible person in the room. But you know that true leadership is something else entirely. It's about building foundations so solid that others can rest on them without fear. It's about creating systems that work even when you're not looking. It's about transforming abstract visions into tangible realities that people can touch, use, inhabit. And in that Taurus, you are unparalleled, because you don't lead with empty words or bright promises. You lead through building, through concrete results that no one can deny or question. When Aries leads, it's through bursts of initiative and courage. When Leo leads, it's through charisma and dramatic inspiration. When Capricorn leads, it's through cold strategy and calculated ambition. But when Taurus leads, it's through something much deeper and more lasting. You create reality. You take chaos and transform it into order. You take floating ideas and transform them into solid structures. You take wasted potential and transform it into manifest prosperity. And people follow you not because you ask them to, but because they see what you build and want to be a part of it. You are the sign of materialization. Everything you touch eventually becomes real, solid, permanent. And in a world where most people live in fantasies, procrastination, and eternal indecision, your ability to make things real automatically puts you in a leadership position. Because at the end of the day, people don't follow theories, they follow results. And you deliver results like no other sign can. For those born between April 20th and April 30th, their leadership manifests itself through creating material security for others. You are the boss who ensures everyone has what they need, that no one goes without under your command. For those born between May 1st and May 10th, you lead through perfect systems and processes. You are the boss who makes everything work like a well-oiled machine. And for those born between May 11th and May 20th, your leadership comes through unwavering values and total integrity. You are the boss people respect because you never compromise your principles. But all Taurians share a central leadership trait: absolute reliability. When you say you're going to do something, it happens. When you take responsibility, it gets done. When you give your word, it's worth more than other people's signed contracts. And this unwavering consistency creates a form of authority that no other sign can replicate. People don't just trust you, they depend on you. And you never, ever let these people down. Here's what sets you apart from other signs that also lead. You don't need external validation to keep building. Aries needs constant enthusiasm. Leo needs admiration. Capricorn needs status recognition. But you keep building your empire even when no one is applauding, even when no one is watching, even when it takes years to see results. Because your motivation doesn't come from the outside, it comes from a deep inner need to create something real, solid, lasting, something that will exist long after you're gone. That superhuman patience you possess is what makes you unbeatable as a boss. While others give up when they don't see immediate results, you persevere, brick by brick. Day after day, no drama, no complaining, just constant and relentless building towards your vision. And eventually, inevitably, you get there. And when you do, what you've built is so solid that it survives earthquakes that destroy empires built more quickly by other signs. Taurus, you also have something that scares most people who try to lead. You're not afraid of hard work. You're not the type of boss who delegates everything and sits on top enjoying the ride. You're willing to get your hands dirty, to do the hard work, to carry the heaviest burden. And when your team sees you working harder than anyone else, they feel inspired and even ashamed not to put in the same level of effort. You lead by example, not by command. And that kind of leadership generates loyalty that goes far beyond salaries and benefits. People work for you, not just because you pay well, although you usually do, because you understand that work deserves fair compensation. They work for you because they feel safe, because they know you will protect them, that you will ensure everything will be all right, that under your leadership they can relax knowing that someone competent is in charge. You create environments where people can finally stop worrying about basic survival and start focusing on real growth. And here's something profound about your leadership. You understand value in a way that other signs don't. You know exactly how much things are worth, how much time is worth, how much effort is worth, how much money is worth, how much loyalty is worth, and you never, ever underestimate or overestimate anything. This keen perception of value allows you to make decisions that others consider impossible. You know when to invest, when to cut losses, when to wait, when to act. And this practical wisdom makes you a leader who not only survives, but thrives in any economic or social condition. Your natural connection to the material world also gives you a huge advantage as a boss. You understand money, you understand resources, you understand how to multiply, preserve, and distribute wealth sustainably. While other signs may have grand visions, you have the rare ability to transform those visions into real profit, into tangible assets, into concrete financial security for you and everyone under your protection. But here's where your leadership gets really interesting. You're not just a boss in formal work environments. You become a boss in any group you participate in. In your family, you're the one everyone looks to when they need important decisions. In your circle of friends, you're the one who organizes, plans, and makes things happen. Even in casual settings, people naturally defer to you when they need direction. This natural authority you possess transcends professional contexts. It's simply who you are. And do you know why this happens? Because you have something most people have lost: real presence. You are genuinely present in the moment, not distracted, not lost in fantasies, not divided among 1,000 abstract worries. You are here, now, completely. And when you speak, people feel they are receiving your full attention. This is so rare in the modern world that it has become a form of power. Your solid and complete presence causes others to unconsciously grant you authority. Taurus, you also have a leadership trait that few recognize. You protect, fiercely, completely, without hesitation. When someone is under your leadership, you consider that person part of your territory, and you defend your territory like a bull defends its pasture. Nobody messes with your team, nobody harms your people, nobody threatens what you've built. And this fierce protection creates such deep loyalty that people would choose to work for you for less money than for someone else for more. because they know you will never abandon them or sacrifice them when things get tough. Your legendary persistence also makes you the kind of boss who wins wars of attrition. Other signs may have brilliant bursts of success, but you simply keep going and going and going until all the competitors have given up, burned out, or changed focus. And when the smoke clears, you're still there, solid, unwavering, victorious not because you were faster or smarter, but because you were more enduring than anyone else. You win simply because you're still standing when everyone else has fallen. But here's something crucial you need to understand about your leadership. You're not a boss because you seek to control others. You become a boss because you refuse to hand over control of your own life to incompetent people. You assume leadership not out of ego, but out of necessity, because you tried letting others lead and saw everything crumble. You saw wasted opportunities, you saw resources misused, you saw potential destroyed by stupid decisions, and eventually you said, "Enough, if nobody's going to do it right, I will." And when you did, it worked, and everyone noticed, and they never wanted you to leave the leadership again. Your leadership also carries a unique sensory quality. You create environments that are physically pleasant, comfortable workspaces, systems that don't cause unnecessary stress, processes that respect human limits of energy and attention. While other bosses squeeze everything they can from employees without caring about well-being, you understand that rested, comfortable, and satisfied people produce better results, and you create the conditions for that to happen. You also have zero tolerance for unnecessary drama. As a boss, you nip any office politics, gossip, or unproductive conflict in the bud. You have no patience for mind games or subtle manipulations. You want everyone to do their job, treat each other with basic respect, and go home at the end of the day energized to live their lives. This refreshing simplicity in your leadership approach eliminates 90% of the problems that plague other organizations. Taurus, your relationship with time also makes you a superior leader. You don't panic about passing trends. You don't chase every new management fad. You don't restructure everything every quarter because you read a new book. You identify what works and then you persist in it. You give systems time to mature, for processes to refine, for people to develop real expertise instead of superficially learning 1,000 different things. This stability that you offer allows real depth to be developed. And here's something few bosses understand, but you intuitively know: a sustainable pace is more important than explosive speed. You don't burn out your team with impossible deadlines and insane expectations. You establish a work rhythm that can be maintained year after year. And while companies led by other signs have very high turnover and constant burnout, their organizations retain talent for decades. Because people know that working for you won't destroy their health, relationships, or sanity, your ability to create and accumulate wealth also distinguishes you as a leader. You don't just generate revenue, you build wealth. You create assets that appreciate over time. You invest in infrastructure that pays dividends for generations. You think in terms of decades, not quarters. And this long-term vision means that what you build not only survives, but becomes stronger, more valuable, more influential with each passing year. The people who work for you also benefit from this wealth-building mindset. You don't just pay salaries. You create opportunities for them to build wealth as well, whether through profit sharing, stock options, or simply paying them enough to save and invest. You want everyone around you to prosper, because you understand that collective prosperity is more stable and sustainable than you getting rich at everyone else's expense. Taurus, you also possess a rare quality among leaders. You deliver on your promises. If you said you'd give a raise, you give it. If you promised a promotion, you deliver. If you guaranteed that a certain project would be a priority, it receives the necessary resources. Your word isn't just good, it's gold. And in a world where most leaders promise everything and deliver nothing, your absolute reliability makes you someone people would literally move to another city to work for. You also understand something profound about human motivation. People work better when they feel they are building something meaningful, not just completing random tasks. And you are a master at creating that feeling. You show your team how their work contributes to the bigger whole, how each brick they lay is part of an impressive structure, how their effort today will result in something that will still exist decades later. You give meaning to work, and that generates commitment that no salary alone could buy. Your leadership is also characterized by consistent fairness. You have no favorites. You don't change rules depending on your mood. You don't punish some and forgive others for the same behavior. You set clear standards and apply them equally to everyone, including yourself. This impartial fairness creates deep trust. People know that under your leadership, they will be treated according to their actions and results, not according to politics or who is friends with whom. But here's where your leadership reaches levels few understand. You create legacies, not just companies that exist while you're alive, but institutions that continue generations after you. Systems so well built that they function even when you're no longer there. You plant trees in whose shade you'll never sit because you understand that true leadership is measured not by what you accumulate during your life, but by what continues to exist after you're gone. Taurus, you are the sign of leaders because you carry within your essence the fundamental ingredients of lasting leadership: reliability, persistence, perception of value, ability to materialize, fierce protection of your people, consistent justice, and a long-term vision. You don't need tricks or manipulations. You simply build, and people naturally want to be part of what you are building. So stop doubting your leadership abilities. Stop thinking others would be better bosses than you. Stop hesitating to take charge when opportunities arise, because you were literally made for this. Your Taurus nature is no accident. It's designed. You were designed by the universe to be the kind of leader who creates lasting prosperity, genuine security, and systems that sustain life instead of exploiting it. Share in the comments simply, "I build," 2 words that affirm your essential nature as a creator of solid realities and a leader of others toward shared prosperity. Subscribe to the channel now, because I'll be bringing you more content on how you can specifically maximize your Taurus leadership potential, how to build your empire sustainably, how to attract and retain top talent, how to create wealth that lasts for generations, how to be the kind of boss people talk about with respect and gratitude decades later. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any guidance. This is your recognition, Taurus. The recognition that you are not destined to follow, you are destined to lead, to build, to create, to protect, to make real what others only dream of. You are the sign of leaders not by accident, but by divine design. Embrace this role, build your empire, and leave the legacy that only you are capable of creating.